I joined the club in 2010. Not long afterwards, probably about 6 months later, I heard a presentation by Roger and Liz Fagan about the work they were doing in the Dominican Republic. And they came back with this prosthetic hand that a layperson could fit and train people how to use. And I was thrilled. I was like, this is the project I was looking for. The vast majority of folks that we see come through, they've lost their hand due to machete violence. It's pretty grisly, actually, where you'll see most people they're being robbed, some kind of violent attack, go to defend themselves, and they get their hand sliced off. I would say that's probably about 75% of what we see. We also see a fair amount of electrical accidents. So somebody will grab a live wire, there'll be an explosion, they'll lose their hand. The process for fitting hands, it has been really a three-part process overall. So we would do kind of a patient intake, get their history, take measurements. We would then move them into fitting with the prosthetic hand and then training them on how to use the prosthetic hand. And this is with the first hand that we started the project using was a hand called the LN4 hand. It's one size fits all. It doesn't quite look like a full hand, but it's functional. And it's a great helper hand, just for those daily tasks that you need that require two hands. This year, we've expanded and we've found a new model of hand that's actually 3D printed. So you can really customize the hand to each individual size and to the function that they need it for.
We have to modify each design to fit a particular need. And I've changed the design to make it more applicable to the Dominican Republic specifically in terms of cultural expectations of having a whole arm and no empty space. In terms of climate, you load all of that information in and you come up with a design. And it goes through what's called a slicing program. And that program determines how the printer is going to move and how much plastic it's going to extrude to make the shape. You get it all set up, calibrated, turned on, heated up, you tell it to print, and there it goes.
There's a stigma around not having a hand, that you've deserved to not have that hand, that you're a thief, or that you've done something wrong. And often, even though the LN4 hand might be useful for them, they shy away from it because it doesn't look like a normal hand. With these new 3D printed hands, we're going to be able to provide something that looks much more like a normal hand for them. And so aesthetically, it's going to look better. One of our very first patients was a woman who she actually was born without a hand. So she had not had a hand for 70 some odd years. We were able to fit her with a prosthetic device. And the smile on her face just lit up the room. And I think all of us, it was our very first day doing this. None of us had ever fit anybody with one of these hands before. And we were all just instantly hooked. Another interesting patient. He was a younger kid. He came in with his mom, and we trained him how to use the hand. And even simple things like using a knife to cut food, and using a fork. And his mother got all excited and said, "I can take you to a restaurant now." Almost like you're complete now. You're more whole. He got up and he started dancing with his mom. We actually had 2 prisoners come for a hand from the local prison. One was missing a right hand, one was missing a left hand, and they were handcuffed together with their good hands.
There was one electrician who came with his wife and his son, and he had apparently tried to fix something and raised his arms. He was electrocuted and lost both of his hands. And so it was a remarkable story about a family pulling together to help this man, as well as these Rotarians pulling together to help the family.
Victor, he was attacked by a machete. He actually was cashing a paycheck. Some people that he knew he was going to cash a paycheck. They went to rob him. He mentioned that he knew who these people were, and so they tried to kill him. So he lost his hand. He got a very bad wound above his ear, which actually caused hearing loss in that ear, and he actually still has a hole in the side of his head. We then took him over to the hearing clinic, and he saw Roger and Liz Fagan, and they did some testing for him, and they're going to be able to help him with a hearing aid. Then we brought him to some other clinicians in the hospital so they could work on that hole that he has in his head. So we actually went and got an x-ray, and he's seeing a specialist about that. It's very tangible for them. You see somebody who comes in with only one hand, you have them leave with two. very impactful, but it's just as impactful for us as the people working on it.
Some of them have had prosthetic devices that are just a prop. With these, you can actually grasp things. You can ride a bicycle or hopefully a moped. You can do a variety of things that they have not been able to do.
We have officially 3 projects with the hearing aids in the hands and the H2O water filters, but it's so much more than that too. So we have a vocational school that we've adopted, and we've provided a school bus so people can go to this school and learn a trade. Free tuition to get this education. I mean, that's kind of what I always feel every time I go to the Dominican Republic is we explore new projects and new things we can do to help. And sometimes it's hard to say no because you see these things, you're like, oh, we can do something there. We can really help out, particularly through the power of Rotary.